The Los Angeles Clippers are a team to follow this offseason. It's going to be an interesting offseason for them. But another dream scenario for me, like, the Kevin Durant to OKC video I did already, would be what if the Clippers let Paul George walk and then get Jimmy Butler instead? Maybe you do a sign and trade for Paul George. You use, the assets, the picks you get for Paul George, and you trade it to get Jimmy Butler, another guy that has that kind of playoff mentality, that championship, mentality. Hasn't won one yet, but with a guy like Kawhi, that would be one of the best, duos we've seen put together. Two killers. Jimmy Butler goes to the Eastern Conference Finals every year, damn near. And then Kawhi, obviously, health is a huge thing for him. If he's healthy, the Clippers would already won a championship already, I think. He's just that fucking good, and the team was just that good. Just his health every season in the playoffs, never able to put together a healthy playoff run. But when he does, Toronto Raptors won them a championship. So Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, two great wing defenders. And I think Jimmy Butler is an upgrade over Paul George. Playoff performer. Paul George is pandemic P. So getting Jimmy Butler over there in the playoffs, you could trust him. And you have another closer in Kawhi Leonard, two closers. And then maybe you keep James Harden. Maybe you bring in Chris Paul. The options are limited. But whatever you do, you have a good duo that could compete for a championship in the West, I think. And in terms of role players, Zubac, Norman Powell, Keith Bones, give him some minutes finally. Ty Lue is a really good coach. So I think the Clippers, if they were able to get Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard together, that would be must-see playoff television. I think they would be able to beat most teams in the West. Minnesota, I think they would beat Dallas. They took Dallas 6 games without Kawhi Leonard. So I think they would be able to beat Dallas in the West as well. Hot take. But realistically, the Clippers, I think this offseason, they're going to let Paul George walk and they're going to re-sign James Harden. He likes it out in LA. He's going to want to stay in LA. Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, maybe they bring in Chris Paul, bring him back. I know they were interested in him. And then, they're going to sign DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan goes back home to LA from Compton. Perfect spot for him. And he's a mid-range assassin. I think he also is a guy that you can trust a little more than Paul George. Not as good defensively, but this is a guy that played 82 games last year, consistent, reliable. The mid-range assassin, like I already said, he's going to be able to be a scoring guy for you. And I think James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard, that's an effective big three. That's in a big three that can possibly do something. And the Clippers, they got a new arena. They're going to be wanting to continue to, put butts in the seats and continue to be competitive. So I think DeMar DeRozan gives them that. Just need some other guys. You need some 3-and-D guys. You need some guys that you had on your roster before. A Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, bring those guys back. Maybe, you look at a Torrey Craig, just guys like that you can fill out the roster with. That's a big thing this year. They didn't have those guys in the rotation. So I think, that's realistic for the Clippers. Luke Kennard, maybe you bring him back too, but, DeMar DeRozan, James Harden, Kawhi, I think that's a solid big three. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.